When I hear the words poker, deck building, roguelike, I immediately think of poker, which makes me think of gambling, which makes me think of my dad. Because he has a gambling addiction. All three of these tags may turn the average gamer off. They don't get these types of games, they don't want to get them, and that's fine. But for me, I like a nice casual game of poker. I've been playing card games, specifically Hearthstone, for over a decade now, which is disgusting now that I think about it. And roguelikes are some of the very best games on the market, if you ask me, with Hades being one of my very favorite games of all time. That's why when you combine all of these tags into one, you get a game that is so addicting, one that reels you in so quickly that it should be illegal. Balatro is the most addicting, rule-breaking, upside-down game of poker that I've ever played, and that's why I love it. Balatro has all of the green flags that you could ask for with this type of game. Overwhelmingly positive Steam ratings, over 1 million units sold across all platforms, and made by a solo developer by the name of Local Thunk. Some dude from Canada single-handedly decided to make one of the best roguelikes I've ever played. Okay, sure. It's all of these factors, along with the game's DNA, that make it one of a kind. But what is Balatro at its core? The premise is simple. There's a total of 8 antes that need to be cleared in order to win a run. Within each of these antes is 3 rounds, or blinds in this case. The small blind, the big blind, and the boss blind. Once we enter into one of these blinds, we have to hit the score that the game gives us in order to progress. In order to hit the score, we have to form poker hands, and there's a nifty little guide here to remind us of what all of the poker hands are, because no matter how many times I've played poker in real life, I can't remember half of these. Each one of these poker hands provides a base number of chips and a base multiplier, with the rarer poker hands of course being worth more. Now here's where the absolutely batshit crazy, illegal part of the game comes into play. You see, the game wouldn't be all that fun if we were just making the same poker hands over and over with the same multipliers and the scores ticking up the same way every time. Luckily, there is 150 game-breaking jokers that make every single run feel fresh and new. That's actually where the game gets its name from. You see, a Balatro or a Balatro or a Balatro or whatever was actually a word used in ancient Rome to describe a jester or a buffoon, much like myself. These jokers are your upgrades during a run. They're your power progression tools that make roguelikes so damn addicting in the first place. Let's compare them to the wide array of boons that you may find in Hades, or your relics that you find in Slay the Spire. By the way, Slay the Spire is another game that I recently decided to purchase on this year's Steam sale. That's right, I decided to get into 2 extremely satisfying deck builder games simultaneously, and now I don't remember the last time I've seen sunlight. What do the jokers actually do to assist you? Well, at the end of the day, they're used to make beautiful synergies within your deck. Every time you try and play a hand and hit the designated score for a round, your jokers are at the top of the screen and they'll come into play and start triggering all of their abilities. A lot of the jokers provide additional chips or multipliers if certain conditions are met. Just some of the more basic examples would be this one that adds 12 to the multiplier if you play 3 of a kind, or this one that adds 10 to the multiplier if you play a flush. You try to utilize these jokers the best you can and come up with insane game-breaking ways to synergize jokers with other jokers. Here's one called Pareidolia, where every single card that I play is now considered a face card, meaning a queen, king, or jack. Now combine that with something like the smiley face joker that gives additional multiplier for each face card that I play. What a satisfying feeling when you're able to connect things like this together within a run. What's even more satisfying is if you're able to get 3, 4, 5, even sometimes 6 jokers that all synergize perfectly together. Like in this run that took me all the way to ante 10. I have the Devious Joker, which adds 100 chips if I play a straight. And then I have the crazy joker that adds 12 to the multiplier if I play a straight. Then I have the runner that adds 15 chips for every number of straights that I have played during the run. And to top it all off, I have the shortcut joker, which allows me to form straights with gaps of 1 in between them, making them all that much more common to find. Do we see how this could start to get a little absurd? Every time I was playing a straight here, I was like, okay, hit me, hit me, hit me, okay, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then the meter starts to burn and the numbers get higher and higher, and then you're getting that visual feedback and you're like, good God, I just scored way more points than I thought I was going to. Please inject more of this game into my eyeballs. Not every joker does something for your score, however. In this instance, I have good old Mr. Bones. Let's say you're not able to hit the ante on your last hand. Normally, the run would just be over there. But if you're holding a Mr. Bones joker, he will get burned and you'll be able to keep progressing. It's sort of like a second wind. In this instance, I was on the last ante, the last blind, the last boss, and I wasn't able to hit the score on my last hand. So Mr. Bones comes in and sacrifices himself, and I win the run. Thank you, Mr. Bones, for your service. There's jokers that enhance whether you play even or odd cards. There's strange ones like the misprint that looks like a glitched out card and it adds anywhere from 1 to 23 to your multiplier every single time you play a hand. The bold joker gives you +2 chips every time you play a hand for every dollar that you are holding. So when our money looks like this, we're getting some nice value here. There's just so many cool and creative jokers to play, and it makes every run feel so different and unlimited. There is a joker that is even a bowl of ramen. I don't know why, but it's there. Again, 150 jokers leaves a lot of room for experimentation, but jokers are not the only thing that enhance your deck. At the end of each round, you gain access to the shop, and here you have access to buy packs, which give you more jokers. You have vouchers, which give you permanent upgrades for the rest of that run. There's also tarot cards that upgrade specific cards in your deck, like turning one into a lucky card, a gold card, a stone card, a glass card, a steel card. Each one of these cards having their own benefit every single time that you play one or hold one in your hand. One of my favorite tarot cards is the Wheel of Fortune, not only because I used to love watching this show with my grandmother, but because it gives you a 1 in 4 chance to apply an either holographic buff, polychromal, or foil to one of your jokers. Each one of these special card editions having their own juicy benefits. Now, planet cards are another way to have your scores shoot up into space. Get it? They're planets. Basically, they level up the different types of poker hands, giving you more base, chips, and multi when you play them. Like in this run where I leveled up my 2-pair to level 17. Every single time before I even played the 2-pair, the number was just insane, and then I would click play hand and just break the game. Now, spectral cards can also be bought in the shop after a round, but their chance of showing up is a lot more rare than your standard card or joker packs. The spectral cards have some serious potential to add some real juice to your deck. Whether it's taking all of your money away and giving you a rare random joker, or maybe destroying a random card in your deck in exchange for some enhanced aces or enhanced numbered cards. As you progress through a run, you're going to want to be looking for these buffs along the way to look for the best synergies that you can. The reason why you need to get stronger and stronger is because just after the first couple of rounds, the game really starts to fuck you. The blinds that you have to meet will get crazier and crazier. Not to mention that there's multiple stake difficulties that you can unlock if you cleared the previous stake, stacking one on top of each other and applying debuffs throughout the entire run if that's your thing. Don't forget that the boss blinds will always do something to screw you over as well, with some being worse than others. There's this one that allows you to only play one type of hand per round, meaning that if you started with a 2-pair is the only thing you're going to be able to play for the rest of that round. In this example, I drew my first ever royal flush, which is one of the rarest hands that you can play in poker. I got a little bit eager, I got a little bit carried away with excitement, and I just threw it out there, not thinking about the fact that since I was against this boss, the only thing I would be able to score with now for the rest of that round was other royal flushes. I definitely lost that run right there. Now look, every single card game is going to have some level of randomness or RNG to it, and Balatro is no exception, of course. However, the game is willing to reward you enough that it never feels too unfair or unenjoyable to play, because you are simultaneously getting way stronger and more unfair yourself as the game gets crazier. If you're smart enough to outsmart the game and come up with insane game-breaking synergies, then the game will let you, and your monkey brain will be rewarded with big numbers and pretty colors, further cementing my now crippling addiction to this game. I also realized a few hours into the game that you can play at either 2x or 4x speed in case you weren't getting those dopamine hits quickly enough, and it sort of starts to look a little insane. I want to go play this game right now. I think I'm gonna go play this game. It's crazy that Balatro is this good. It is this addicting and such a good package for only being made by a solo developer. I know there's plenty of other great indie games out there made by one person, like Lethal Company is the first example that comes to mind, but it's just that much better knowing that games this good and addicting can come from such small teams or sometimes just one person. This is a game that completely skips any nonsense or shenanigans that AAA studios might try to pull, and it just delivers the goods quickly and effectively, a little bit too effectively. The art style, the music, the progression, the endless replayability, all of the synergies, it is just all top notch. It is just oozing with personality and creativity, and after playing it for roughly the past 7 to 10 days, I don't have that much time on it. This gambling problem has never felt so good. Don't gamble, kids. Do not gamble. Do not gamble. We're out of here.